What up, YouTube? It's me, Johnny, back at again with another video. No face cam this time, but on today's show, one hot topic of debate that I want to talk about that has been happening amongst the Dragon Ball community, that has been talked about for some time, talked about in the Kenzetsu, and that is who is the stronger person between Vegito and Gogeta. And I'm probably mispronouncing, I think it's Gogeta or Gogeta, I think it's pronounced actually. So we're going to go with Gogeta, but y'all know who I'm talking about. We're going to find out who I believe is stronger, and that's what I'm going to talk about on today's video. But before I actually get started and talking about, their feeds and things that we saw both in the manga and in anime to actually power scale them to see who I believe is stronger, please, for me, if you're enjoying this content you're listening to here, like the video, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell so anytime I put out a new video, you will get notified of it. But without further ado, let me get into this. So let me also say right off the top that there will be no fan-made fiction material used for the video for either one of these characters, so leaving that one out. I'm going to actually start off with Vegito first and talk about his character. So we first saw Vegito appear in the Ultimate Combination Volume 42 of the manga and episode 267 of the anime after Vegeta and Goku used the Potara earrings given to them by Old Kai in their battle against Buhan. Well, Super Buu at the time, but then Buhan. Vegito is said to be the perfect fighter, the mightiest warrior in the entire Dragon Ball franchise. This form of fusion only lasts for about 1 hour, and he's a mix of what Goku's smarts and Vegeta's cockiness is, and of course with Vegeta's battle IQ. When we first saw him fight Buhan, it was pretty clear that even in base, he could hang with Buhan, and that's saying something considering at the time, Buu had absorbed Piccolo, Gohan, Gotenks, which is the fusion of Goten and Trunks, for anybody who doesn't know that. During the fight, when Vegito powered up, he was clearly at that point outclassing Buhan. Even when Vegito let Buhan turn him into chocolate, he was still beating him up to the point that Buhan had no choice but to actually turn him back into his human form. He was so strong that during this fight, Vegito was so strong that he pretty much lost the fight because he was absorbed by Buhan, air quotes, coming with absorb because he actually let him do that. When I actually first saw this initially though, in the comic and anime, I was like, what? Is that no better way to actually make Vegito lose? I mean, it almost felt like he got Soul Calibur ringed out by Nightmare type of feeling for anybody who's played Soul Calibur in their life. And if you play that, you know what I'm talking about. Now, I know Vegito let, obviously, Buhan, as I mentioned, absorbed him on purpose, which is what Old Kai mentioned, but I still felt that way. To get back on track, though, the next time we saw him in the series was when he fought Fuse Zamasu all the way in Dragon Ball Super. During this fight, once again, seeing how they were outmatched by a overpowered opponent, the earrings were used, and then the playing field started to turn. Now, this fight was much closer though than the fight versus Buhan, in my opinion, since even though Vegito had gained the upper hand on Fuse Zamasu, it wasn't the complete beatdown we saw against Buhan, the strongest version of Majin Buu in the series. I know that's a controversial statement. I just don't think it should be. Now, the other thing to that I forgot to actually mention earlier about the Potara earrings is a statement from Vaduz, who is Universe 6's angel, so think Whis to Beers, if you will, which is the fusion creates a new body and personality greater than the sum of the two fused, and their power increases by 10 times, which doesn't actually give us an exact number other than that 10 times multiplier right there to go off of, but that's all still pretty insane. Another statement about the power a person has when fused using the earrings comes from Goshu, and I probably mispronounced the heck out of that, but anyway, he's Universe 10's Supreme Kai, that once Goku Black and future Zamasu had actually fused, using those same earrings, that their power did not just merge but expanded to no end. So it's safe to say Vegito might just be the strongest of the two fusions, but let's actually take a look at Gogeta, his feats, and talk about the fusion dance and see how powerful, he is compared to Vegito. So most of Gogeta's lore is actually based in a lot of non-canon material. So a lot of the feats I'm going to actually utilize is going to have to come from here. So Gogeta made his first appearance in the movie called Fusion Reborn, where he fought against Janemba. He later made his comeback in Dragon Ball GT when he fought against Omega Shenron or Shenron. And then his official canon debut actually came in the Dragon Ball Super Broly film, so we've got to see him a little more than we got to see Vegito. This form of Goku and Vegeta, though, comes in the way of using the fusion dance. We first actually saw this fusion dance used by Goten and Trunks during the Majin Buu arc after Goku taught them this technique that he picked up from Otherworld, he came back for that limited time that he had on Earth. The fusion dance is stated to give the user a multiplier several-fold amount of power over that of the individuals fused. The fusion dance users stay fused for about 30 minutes depending on the amount of Kai used. That also kind of goes for the Potara fusion as well. During this fight against Janemba, prior to fusing, Goku and Vegeta was, going a roundabout way of getting whooped up on as usual before actually resorting to fusion. Once fused though, Gogeta outclassed him in pretty much the same way Vegito did when he actually fought Buhan. In GT, once fused, and in Super Saiyan 4, Gogeta was handling Omega Shenron pretty easily. Considering Omega Shenron up to that point in the Dragon Ball story was the strongest villain that we had seen by a lot, plus the fact that any attack Omega used really didn't actually work on Gogeta, to me actually speaks to how much stronger this version form made Goku and Vegeta once, fused. I mean, dude was so strong, he was able to kick away Omega Shenron's negative energy ball and kick it, all the while being able to convert the blast into positive energy, which is an insane display of power. What's even crazier is, depending on who you ask, the next time we saw Gogeta in Super, his Gogeta Blue form, many, and I myself include myself in this, many believe that this form is even stronger than the one we saw in GT. The fact that Gogeta had to be used to actually beat Broly anyway is just another crazy feat for Broly, but that's for another video for another time when I talk about Broly and how strong I think he is and can be. Gogeta doing this clash with Broly and wiping the floor with him was directly responsible for what we actually see later in the Super manga in Black Frieza, because Frieza saw him, was gonna approach him, wanted to go and inform, and then was like, nah, I ain't got nothing for him, and then decided to leave and start his 10-year hyperbolic time chamber training. With that said, here's my take on who I believe is the strongest of these two. Now, I think it's pretty obvious to me that Vegito is even stronger than Gogeta. It's even applied by old Kai that when Kid Buu had actually emerged, that he didn't believe that using the fusion dance would be enough to defeat him, but thought that the Vegito produced fusion with the Potara earrings could. Now, you could argue that's a little bit of bias on his part since, again, the Potara earrings comes from the Kais, but, take that with a grain of salt. The other factor to me, though, that makes Vegito stronger is that this fusion has no potential flaws in it, but the fusion dance does. And we see that actually happen both Goten and Trunks when they fuse, And then, of course, even Goku and Vegeta in their fight with Janemba. The other thing that makes Vegito stronger, in my opinion, is, well, the Potara earrings fusions just last longer. I know both get hampered the more power or ki the fusion form has, like we talked about earlier, but the dance gives out actually a lot quicker. Gogeta is strong though, don't get me wrong, and I think that the only fusions we have seen in Dragon Ball, the whole Dragon Ball franchise, to me is Fuse Zamasu and Vegito itself. I know this debate will continue to rage on in the Dragon Ball community, but I don't see any argument where Gogeta is stronger. Even if we look at the strongest villains each of them has faced, in my opinion, Vegito has fought the superior competition. Put all that together, and this is why I believe that Vegito is the strongest. But hey, let me know what you actually think in the comments, who you think is stronger. But until next time, ladies and gents, be blessed. Have a good one. Peace.